What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble podcast brought to you by Old City Sports Network. I'm your host, Chet, and I'm joined by all my co-hosts this week, Tyler, Jacob, and Wade. Wade's got a new mic, so we'll let him go first. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, let's test this baby out. Good to be on with everyone, ditching the wired headphones and joining 2022 with this
Yeah.
fancy microphone. Figure I do the two shows each week, of course tonight, and then again later this week with Tyler. So yeah, let's see how this thing goes.
Yeah, for those watching, you can see it change colors throughout the show between he's got
It
the
depends on my
fancy.
mood. As
Yeah.
my fantasy players score, it will turn blue because I'm calm and collected. And then when James Conner can't punch it in from the 1 yard line, it turns red.
There you go. I know, Jacob, you got one of those mics. We'll have to get you hooked up once you find that little dongle for your Mac, since they don't put USB ports on there anymore.
Yeah, I can't stand.
I got a dongle from my job. I can just ship it to you.
There you go. So, how are you doing tonight, Tyler? How's your fantasy teams looking?
They're garbage. I don't want to talk about them.
The
He
fantasy
gave
football
all of his
expert.
advice away to the world and left none for himself.
Yeah,
It feels like the year 2022 is the year that I'll probably get last place.
That's okay. You can bounce back. You bounced back last time, and
I'll just tank for like a
Folks, just
maybe
mark
these
this
prime
day
wide
down in history.
receivers.
Folks, just mark this day down in history. It is September 25th of 2022. Tyler said he's going to get dead last in fantasy football.
We'll have to come up
Hey,
with
it's
a
not looking
punishment
good.
for
I mean,
We're going to revisit this. And Tyler's going to be like, oh, we won 9 games this year.
come back for all ages. I mean, a few years ago, I started 0-5 and came back and went to the championship, but actually lost to you. Like 3 years ago? I
Yeah,
think
that
it
was quite the comeback. That was one of the only years I had kind of let it from coast to coast, and you came in at the very end and nearly took it. But Tyler, I'm sure you have Cooper Kupp Jr. just growing in a lab somewhere.
Yeah,
You're
you'll
gonna
have him on there.
bring him into
eventually.
the lineup.
You'll find him somewhere.
I don't know.
I've been watching your waiver wire picks up with Eric over there at PSR, so one of them will pay off for you.
He's sandbagging. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, of course he is.
Yeah, I feel like I'm helping others, but I'm not really helping myself.
Well, you're gonna have to stop being so nice when people ask for advice. You're gonna have to cut them off. I'm gonna just have to stop asking you, so that way you can get some dubs. But a little bit of programming notes. We got a special announcement. Our wonderful partners over there at Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company, in Houston, they're teamed up with us to do a giveaway for one of their shirts. You can get the Buff Brew. You can't see me anymore, but Buff Brew. It's not pink; it's salmon colored. You can get a Buff Brew T-shirt, and if you win, maybe if you come to Houston, I'll buy you a beer. But to enter this giveaway, all you have to do is go on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, and then we will select a random review and contact that person or have them contact us. I haven't figured that part out yet, but if it's a loyal listener, they'll hear us talk about it, and we'll ship you the shirt and maybe a beer with it as well. So make sure you leave us a review to win this awesome salmon-covered Buff Brew shirt. But okay, let's kick it off. Sports this weekend, we had a lot. I might have been the only one watching the President's Cup over football, but it was a good day to be an American today when you're going against the international team. So, I mean, Fudge, you're our golfer. You tell me you watched college football 11 o'clock games instead of watching the President's Cup?
Of course I did. Penn State was playing Central Michigan at 11 o'clock.
Well, you can't miss that one.
Yeah, of course you can, especially when it's a tie game at the end of the first quarter. No, I thought I liked the President's Cup. I don't think it has the same amount of hype as the Ryder Cup. It just seems different when it's the U.S. versus Europe. It doesn't have the same.
Well, and Europe has a lot more talent too.
Say what?
I said Europe has. Well, I mean, the international team looked great today, but Europe has a lot more talent because you got like Rory McIlroy, Sergio Garcia, all that are playing in it.
Sure,
but it was. I mean, coming in, the U.S. was supposed to blow them out of the water, and they ended up winning 17.5 to 12.5. So still a pretty good. Yeah, pretty good margin of victory. But after the first day, they were up 8-2. So I mean, or after the second day, they were up 8-2. So it looked like it was being all-out blowout. But hey, these young international guys, Tom Kim, 20 years old. He's got one PGA Tour win. I mean, he put himself on the map. I don't know if y'all saw any of his highlights. He was fist pumping out, like I'm talking Tiger Woods to the extreme, full fist pumps. And they were draining putts from all over the place. So it was I'm glad they got a little dicey here today, and they ended up making a run, but the USA team was able to close them out. So
I will say it's different match play golf versus stroke play. I mean, y'all know it's different, and different guys playing differently in different environments. I mean, that course has always been hard to play on. It looked like the greens, from what I saw, were rolling a little slower this time around. It was a little easier to control putts.
yeah,
You see people like Jordan Spieth. I mean, went 5-0.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's crazy. But he's done that in the Ryder Cup. We've seen that happen before, and he's just a match play golfer. So, I mean, there are guys out there that they strive and they succeed in match play golf. I mean, that's why you see guys that you've never heard of at the WGC match play up there in the round of 8, and you're like, who is this guy? And that's really what it is. Some guys just play better in match play events than they do in stroke play, because I think the pressure is – everybody's like, oh, the pressure's on. I think some of the pressure is off, because you can control what happens right there on that hole and nothing else matters, versus you in a stroke play event in, like, for example, the Masters or the Players or whatever it may be. It's you versus everybody else. And there's guys on other holes, and they're, some guy might go on a 5 straight, birdie stretch, and they're just going while you're just, parring away. They get a 5-shot lead all of a sudden versus,
Right.
One hole, whatever happens. You put it in the water 3 times, you're still down 1 at the end of the hole. It's a different feeling doing that. And I think some guys are just better, like Jordan or JT.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, with match play, yeah, you build the momentum, but like you said, you could have a bad hole and then it resets. So even with like our alternate shot play from the whack, which I learned we were doing it wrong. You're supposed to pick a different person to tee off each hole. You're not supposed to do like flip flop, however you finish the hole, according to the PGA Tour. But so next we'll strategically pick out who tees off on the par 3s next time. Yeah, we'll make sure we're right. We were just like, that's why the first whack, I don't know if we can authentically count it because we weren't doing it correct.
Technicalities. Yeah, it wasn't the 5-hole lead.
Yeah, no, we'll have our second whack. We'll make sure it's correct. But like another thing, Scotty, number 1 golfer in the world. He became the number 1 golfer in the world in match play in Austin last year. He did not look good this weekend. I don't think he won a single. I think he tied with him and Sam Burns tied the first day. Or no, they lost the first day, tied the second day, and then he didn't win a single match. So it's a little rough for Scotty, but I'm sure he'll bounce back.
Sam Burns carried that.
Oh, yeah. The guy from LSU on fire. It's probably because he was out there practicing at the LSU golf course in Baton
Rouge. Is he the one that sank the 80-footer?
Yeah, he said he hit an 80-foot eagle putt. I forget on which hole it was on Friday. But nevertheless, it was fun to watch. The NFL games sucked today. The Saints sucked, so I was watching the President's Cup. But it's good to see the USA bring it home, and then we got the Ryder Cup. It's in Paris coming up, right?
I believe
next
so.
year.
Yeah,
it's somewhere overseas this coming year. So, but I mean, the international team looked good. They were all rookies except for like 2 of them, so they held their own for being that young. But then again, this is a lot of our guys. It was their first President's Cup. But I want to talk about Patrick Cantlay and Xander. The 2 of them are unstoppable in match play. I mean, they were just destroying people. Would you not agree? You don't like Patrick and Xander?
I'm just reminiscing over their lovely bromance. Those 2 could hold hands and skip through the prairie as much as they get along and hang out and joke around. It's that's why they're so good.
Mm-hmm.
They're
it's
like
the chemistry. That's why me and Wade sucked. I can't stand Wade, and y'all put me on a team with him.
We hadn't hung out in a short bit, so we weren't.
So that's
It's
what we
week
got to do next time. You got to come, Wade. We got to have a bro weekend, and then we'll go
week
on and
early.
play them. Yeah, we got to get the chemistry flowing good, and then we can beat these two
Sounds good.
bozos.
I don't have any plans the week after the wedding, so we can just take it back.
Yeah, me and you will go on the honeymoon. We'll leave Elisa at home, and we'll go golf on your honeymoon. So, but no, look, I mean, golf's starting to kick back up. We got the Sanderson Farms next week. I know, Fudge, you've decided to delay your PGA Tour debut because you got your big job with the Mississippi Seawolves. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I can't talk too much about it, but
Well,
no,
it's confidential. He's a top secret agent.
no, I was excited. I think the golf thing took a backseat. A lot's happened lately, and I just think it wasn't the right time. I haven't played a lot of golf anyways recently. A lot's been going on.
Yeah.
With classes and trying to finish up. So it just hadn't been the right time. I need to go out and play golf. That and it's too hot, so I'm waiting for the temperature to cool off a little bit. So I think I'll get out soon, and I talked to you about it. Hopefully next year, maybe I'll get a little bit more time during the off season, and I can actually focus more on it because I'd like to do it. And if there's another opportunity, I don't know, sooner rather than waiting till next October in order to do it, I might do it. I might do something like that. But yeah.
Well, we talked a little bit, and then we're actually working on trying to get some tickets or passes to the Houston Open here in November. Maybe we'll have to get you. I'll go out there and I'll scope the course because it's a public course they play on. I can go play it for a pretty good discount because my buddy lives on the course. So I might have to go scope it out, and we'll get you entered into it next year, and I'll caddy for you, and we'll be rocking and rolling. We'll have the sports scramble hats. Stay tuned for that, listeners. You might get a free hat. We're going to do a giveaway with a hat or something. So
as long as you're feeding me the Buffalo Bayou beer
boom.
the whole time, we're good.
That's right.
There you go. Check out Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company, and it'll make you a better golfer, according to Fudge. Hey, when I went on Delco Dive with Jesse and Sheik, I had like 5 or 6 of those beers, and I mean they were great. I went out the next morning, played the best golf I've ever played in my life. It was a scramble, so I couldn't tell you like an accurate score, but I was hitting the ball straight. I mean, I was draining putts. It was awesome. So if you want to play better golf, you got to get on down to Buffalo Bayou Brewing
100% guaranteed.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. So, but all right, let's hop into some college football. First on my list, I want to talk about the old ball coach, Herm Edwards, fired from Arizona State this week. I saw a rumor on Twitter that someone in the athletic department was leaking their game plan to opponents to get him fired faster. Did y'all see anything on that?
I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
That's crazy.
What are your thoughts on that, Wade?
I mean, that's pure sabotage if true. But I think the writing was on the wall there for Edwards. I mean, it was kind of a gimmicky hire, and it worked for a couple of years, but I think he's like 73 or something. It's probably just time for them to go with a younger direction. And you got Lincoln Riley joining the Pac-12 rather, as well as Dan Lanning and some young coaches. Probably time to just restart out there in the desert. Both Arizona schools kind of struggling this year.
Yeah, they're not doing great this season. Tyler, where was Edwards the coach at before? Wasn't he in the NFL?
He was a coach in the NFL, but before he was on like NFL Live with ESPN.
Okay, it was a long gap in his coaching
Yeah.
between the NFL in the early 2000s to basically being on TV. All of our childhood growing up into college, and then I guess about 20 years later he gets the college job at Arizona State, and they had some talent when he took that job, and he was able to kind of keep it up for 2 or 3 years, get them to some bowl games. They were clearly the better team in the state. Arizona was really bad, but I think the luck has caught up to them the last couple of years.
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk like about who, what's next for Arizona State, I mean, the thing I think to look at is, and I know Tyler and I have talked a little bit about it, and that's coaches coming up from the group of 5. I think this is an absolute shot where a Group of 5 coach gets a nod for a job like this, because I know that they're got an interim right now, and I think he's the running back coach. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to hire internally, and they say he's going to interview for it, but I don't know if that's going to happen. This seems like something where they're going to clean house, and they should clean house there and start.
It's been a few years since they've had like a winning season. Since they
were good Daniel's freshman year, and then last year they kind of took a turn for the worse, and they had some NCAA allegations too. So I mean, yeah, they really just need to clean house.
Yeah, I think this is something where, honestly, the first person on my list would be Coastal Carolina's head coach to take a job. Coastal Carolina's kind of evening off right now, especially in the Sun Belt and in the Group of 5 as a whole. There were a couple of years there where they were in the top 25, and they were actually a decently good team. And that's kind of leveled off a little bit. So I think he's the first one at the top of the totem pole, I think, to me, to take that job at Arizona State.
Well, a team that doesn't need to clean house, Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. I don't know if y'all caught this score. They beat the Warner University Royals, wherever that's at, 98-0. They scored 98 points in a college football game. I'm looking at the stats right now. They had 4 quarterbacks play that game. Stephen F. Austin did. And the starting quarterback threw 4 touchdowns, 266 yards. Second string threw for 100 yards for 2 touchdowns. Third string threw for 75 yards for a touchdown. And the fourth string quarterback threw for 37 yards for a touchdown. And holy cow, they had – where's rushing at? Only 2 rushing touchdowns, but I mean, that's insane. 98-0. And actually, Warner University had a total of what are we looking at? They had a total of like 300 yards of offense, and they still couldn't score any points. So that's a little wild. I don't remember a time when I've seen that many points scored. Besides that one that you like to tell us about, Wade, where some team scored like 200 points back in the like 1800s.
Yeah, it was about 100 points shy of the record, but that was in like 1920. So we'll give the Jacks some love. That's probably as many points as we've seen in the last, I don't know, couple decades. It's always kind of interesting and cool to see when a team gets into the 70s. That's like, I don't know, 8 or 9 touchdowns. So I guess 10 touchdowns would be 70. So yeah, 10 touchdowns is kind of the threshold for just absolutely killing it. I don't care
who you're playing. You put up that many points, that's insane. Like,
I'm disappointed.
These are still college athletes. Why are you disappointed, Jake?
I'm disappointed. 98, you couldn't get to 100.
They went.
You couldn't go for 2.
Come on.
They went for 2, but it was a sign of sportsmanship so that they didn't, score another point.
You had sportsmanship at 70-0. Like,
I mean, it was an NIA school. I mean, they weren't even Division I or Division II.
That's their first football game they played this year too. Warner. So I'm looking at the scores. You got Western Kentucky put up 73 on Florida International, which doesn't say much because Southern put up 78 on Florida International week 1, and then LSU just stomped them. There was another high-scoring game this week that I saw that was just insane. It might not have been FBS. It might have been a lower-level league. But, yeah, 98 points. That's a lot. And Warner's offense still got a bunch of yards, but you know whose offense did get a bunch of yards? That'd be the New Mexico Lobos, because the LSU Tigers came in there and shut them out. Were either one of y'all at the game this weekend?
Nope.
Nah, took a pass, took a rain check. Getting ready for that Tennessee game.
Yeah, so what do you think LSU's going to do next week, or not next week, in a few weeks against Tennessee?
I think it's shaping up to be a real good ball game. I mean, Tennessee weathered the storm against Florida. They kind of were back and forth early and then pulled away from the Gators and had a really good showing on offense. Hendon Hooker, I think, was the leading passer and rusher, so he's kind of the guy for them. Very similar to Jaden Daniels being the guy for LSU. So I think that we'll be in for a treat. One of the better dual threat quarterback matchups we've seen in quite some time. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Tomorrow we'll find out whether it's a 2:30 CBS game or
Hopefully
potentially
not.
the primetime game. So yeah,
Please,
we'll
for the
have to
sake of
see.
me.
I don't think I could listen to Gary Daniels talk about.
Jaden Daniels.
No, yeah, really.
It's Danielson, man. You got
Whatever his name is. I can't stand him.
Hey, while we're talking about Daniels, we got to give some love to Kansas's quarterback, Jalen Daniels. So we have Jaden Daniels and Jalen
Yes,
Daniels.
sir.
Okay.
And the man
Great
went absolutely
Kansas.
off. He had like 5 touchdowns for Kansas.
Kansas is
And
4-0 for the first time in like 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, but they're not ranked, which is absolute BS.
Well,
So,
I don't
good
think
job,
they should be
Jalen.
ranked because the strength of schedule. But we talked about this earlier. Tyler thinks they should be ranked. I don't think they should be ranked.
I think
because they have-
like
said
all
they
of
beat
America
Houston.
who's college football fans agree that Kansas should be
But
ranked. It's
Houston
because
has
that they're
won, like, one
Kansas
game.
because I think that they sucked like these past couple of years, and I think that's why that they're not getting ranked.
Dude, put your drunk goggles on because if Kansas goes 12-0 this year and they somehow don't lose a game, that man is sitting in one of the seats for the Heisman Trophy.
Mhm.
for sure.
Well, see, the thing is Kansas represents the Big 12's last chance at making the playoff because
Really?
Oklahoma got
Yeah.
upset.
Oklahoma
This
State too
weekend,
is in there
Oklahoma
too.
State,
Can't forget
Boy,
about them.
lost,
Yeah.
and Baylor's looking pretty good, but they have 1 loss. So I mean, I don't know. Kansas
Yeah,
could
it
run
was
the
Kansas
house.
State that upset Oklahoma, huh?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they lost last week to Tulane, so that
Mhm.
conference just doesn't look too good.
Yeah.
Tulane
It's pretty
lost
much Oklahoma
to
State
Michigan.
and Kansas
Yeah.
at this rate, and then TCU as well. They're undefeated.
There'll be a good team that comes out of there. It'll be competitive football, but kind of to my note before the season, I just didn't see any team coming out of the Big 12 to make the playoff. Looks really good for USC. I'm assuming they won.
Yeah,
did
they won
not
by
look good.
3. They barely won.
Okay.
Not
I didn't
look
see
good
any
at all.
Twitter meltdowns, so figured they did.
You know who barely lost and it ruined Jacob and Tyler's parlay? We talk about Arkansas's kicker.
Mhm.
I've never seen a field goal bounce or a ball bounce off the top of the field goal post like that.
Well,
was crazy.
allegedly, the NFL posts are actually taller than the college football posts. So a lot of people are saying that ball would have just sailed right over the collegiate upright, and it would have been a judgment call, by the official standing there on whether it crossed the plane or not. I've always thought you just put a sheet of plywood like up there, and like a pane of plexiglass, and it's got to hit off the glass to be considered good. I don't know.
Well,
yeah.
I think the thing
Well,
was
there's a camera above it too. I mean, that you can see if it.
Yeah, but you
crosses
start playing with
over.
the angles and like.
Well, speaking of angles, I mean, think about it. He was on the left hash when he kicked it. It hit the inside. It hit the inside of the top. So because it kicked back to the left. If it would have hit the outside, if it was going to go out and it wasn't going to be a good kick, it would have hit the right side of the top there and gone to the right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's one thing like if the ball's rotating, all it has to do is literally a half a rotation, and that ball skips forward instead of backward.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what's crazy. And then they would have had to make a call there, and if that was the case, I think they counted as a good kick. I don't. How do you?
Hey, it
say-
ain't baseball. You can't hit the pole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they took a delay of game penalty, or they had a false start. There was a penalty right before that pushed them back like 5 or 10 yards, and if they don't get that penalty, it's right through the middle, and that's one of the worst things. But
I mean, a lot of people like want to hint at the field goal, but the game really changed. Was at the 1 yard line. KJ Jefferson, try to like dive into, and then like. It was the craziest thing that happened. Like Texas A&M got it back, and then like the quarterback like handed it off to his teammate, and then A&M gets a scoop and score, and it's pretty much a whole new ball game. But yeah, H.A. went off in that game. The running game for A&M really controlled that game. But a big loss for A&M also in that game was their star wide receiver Nye Smith is out for the season.
Yeah, hey, I want to give a shout out to the refs in that game for not blowing that play dead. I figured they'd blow it dead like forward progress, but they let it just keep going. And good thing because we got one of the wildest scoop and score defensive touchdowns of the year. But I picked A&M to upset Arkansas, so I went 1-0 on
wasn't
my
an
upset
upset.
picks.
It wasn't an
It was an
upset.
upset. A&M was lower ranked. It's an
Yeah,
upset.
but A&M
Vegas
was
said
10.5
otherwise.
points.
No, we're
It was
doing it
Vegas
based
upset in
off
the
on
rankings.
this show.
rankings. More
We're
of
doing it based off rankings.
Uh,
But Tyler and I were discussing this before the show. Wade, who did you pick last week? Do you remember?
For upset alert,
Yeah.
I think I wanted to take Clemson losing to Wake Forest, but I'll let Jacob have that L because Jacob picked it. No, I'm just kidding. It was very close to happening.
OT.
Should have happened.
Yeah.
No, I took. I don't know who I took. Oh,
Well, either way.
I took Oregon State beating USC. Is what I did. So that was
And
close.
that
almost.
happened. Tyler, who did you have last week?
I had the Red Raiders upsetting
There we go.
Texas.
So we went 2-2 this week. Last week we were 4-0.
Yeah, that's
This
pretty
week,
good for
2-2. So I think what we start doing instead of this sports scramble parlay, we just start putting out the sports scramble upsets because we're doing
Yeah.
a lot better on
Yeah.
the upset picks.
We
Yeah,
went
but
1
the
and
key
2
is to
in
bet them
that, though, once
individually.
again, so.
Don't parlay them.
Yeah, we're not going to parlay the upset picks, but
Because
so,
I'd had the Baylor upset correctly according to
Hey,
Vegas,
I gotta
and then
say this
parlayed
for
it.
my advice to the bettors: always bet on South Alabama to cover.
the South Alabama covering this
Yep.
year.
They've
the
covered
Jaguars.
Lily in every game.
Did Jacob get a tuition voucher for that statement and sweatshirt combo?
No.
Are we
No.
sponsored by South Alabama now?
No. God.
Nope.
They
USA.
get some media
USA.
passes to the South Alabama game.
Well, that's another story.
So, all right. Well, let's do our upset picks for this week. I'll give you all, since I didn't tell you to have them ready, I'll
Give
give
me
you a few
10
minutes
seconds.
while I pull up the upset picks this week are brought to you by a Righteous Felon. You head on over to righteousfelon.com, get you that good old beef jerky, and use code OCSN for 15% off. And of course, I got the bag right here. You can see, look at the artwork. We've got the Victorious BIG. That's why they're sponsoring this segment, Victorious, because we're going to be 4-0 this week in our upset picks. This one is beer infused, so it's got a nice flavor to it, and it's got a little sweet and sour combination on there. So head on over to Righteous Felon. You can get even a bigger discount if you bundle it and buy 3 bags and like buy a box of it. They give you 10% off, and then you use our code for 15% off. So you get 25% off in the end, and everybody's happy. So go on over to righteousfelon.com, get you that jerky fix. Tyler, let's hear your upset this week.
All right, well, I was pretty much down to 2 here. It was either Mississippi State over A&M. I know that Jacob's saying like, well, that's not an upset because State is a 3-point favorite. So with that, I'm going to go to the Big 12 country once again. I'm going to go TCU upsetting Oklahoma. I think that Oklahoma is going to start a downward spiral. I just didn't think that they were that good in the start of the season. I just feel like the Big 12 is either going to come down between Oklahoma State and Baylor. But I just think that, TCU, all the talk has been about Kansas, but I mean, TCU is a pretty good football team. They have Sonny Dykes, the U head coach, and they just got to win over SMU as well. So I think that TCU at home with Oklahoma kind of on their heels, I think that TCU gets it done. I think it's going to be a high scoring shootout. Both defenses are kind of in right now. But I'm going to go TCU at home.
TCU just won the battle for the iron skillet over
Yep.
SMU. So they're going to be
Best
riding high.
cooking up that horsey.
They cooking
in the
up that
skillet
tunas.
Yeah. So that's always a good rivalry game. I think they only beat them by like 3 or something, huh? It was
Yeah, they
game.
played them really close, pretty much.
Okay, so we got TCU going over Oklahoma for Tyler. I've got a wild one, and it might ruin our upset picks.
God.
We might not go 4-0, but it's going to happen eventually. And I think Arkansas is going to take down Bama this weekend.
That's more reasonable.
It's in Fayetteville.
More reasonable than TCU?
No, more reasonable
No,
than
no, no,
Vanderbilt
his
that I
last
picked
week's
last
pick.
Oh,
week.
yeah, Vanderbilt over Alabama.
That
just
was
pitiful.
all-time bad take by the upset specialist. I was
You are
feeling good.
suspended for a week.
Yeah, I might have to take back my upset specialist priorities there. But, I mean, Bama's a 16-point spread, so Vegas is big on them. But I think, Arkansas, yeah, they just lost to A&M, but it was 2 points off a doinked field goal. I think they come back fired up. Sam Pittman's going to have these boys ready to play. It's in Fayetteville. It's at 2:30. Bama has not looked great early on, at the earlier games. I mean, we saw what they looked like against Texas. I think Arkansas is a better team than Texas, especially since Texas Tech beat them last week. So I'm going Arkansas over Bama.
Arkansas just announced that they're doing a red out too, so that might add to the upset.
Boom. There you go.
Both teams are red.
Bama's crimson.
One's crimson and then one's, I don't know. You can.
Whoop it, Suey.
I saw the same comment. I don't know if that was you, like in your Brenner account tweeting that.
Arkansas needs to have John Daly sing the national anthem before the game. That's what needs to happen.
He was at the game. ESPN gave him like 5 minutes of airtime. He had just like a white hat that says pigs.
Yeah. So I'm pulling Arkansas over Bama. Fudge, who do you got?
I want to go last. I got to go last.
Okay. Wait.
It's probably some wild one.
All right. I want to pick on Clemson 2 weeks in a row, but something tells me they'll continue to sneak out with, 5-point victories, 3-point victories. So I'm going to go with Kentucky upsetting Ole Miss. I know the game's in Oxford, but Ole Miss is pretty one-dimensional right now. They run the heck out the football, and they do a real good job at it, but I don't think Jackson Dart's thrown for over 200 yards once this season, and Will Levis has thrown for 300 yards in every game this season. So I think this Kentucky offense is being slept on. I think that they absolutely slept on Northern Illinois last week, but Ole Miss barely beat Tulsa. So I'm going to go with Kentucky in this one. That one might backfire on me, but I do think that 6.5 points is a lot to give Ole Miss in this one.
Wade, I'm sorry, but that can't count as an upset based off our previous, because Kentucky's ranked number 7 and Ole Miss is 14, based off our previous argument. But I'll give it to you this week. So I know since they are favored.
He has been a big believer. In
it's like picking against the spread or the points or the money line. Like there's multiple ways to bet upsets.
We'll do it both ways. It could be an upset against the spread. Whatever it is, it's an upset in our book. All right, Fudge, what do you got?
All right, I'll give you the wildest one out of all of them.
I feel like it's all reverse over just to get at
just
us.
to piss the three of us off. I'm gonna kick him off the
I
show.
think he's watched Auburn play football this year and isn't going to go that route.
Yeah.
No. I think Brian Harskin loses his job after this week.
That's what I like to hear.
I've got the Michigan Wolverines losing to the
God.
Iowa Hawkeyes.
That's not horrible.
This
like
if Iowa can score some points, yeah.
If Iowa can score some points, this is the best defense that Michigan will face all season.
Yep.
Iowa hasn't given up
I think Penn State's going to be the best defense they face all season. That's biased.
I don't know. Iowa's got one of the best defenses in the country.
Statistically, year after year.
Yeah, statistically.
So I think I have to pick Iowa to win. Currently, Michigan's only an 11-point favorite, which is less than it was against Maryland, and they struggled till the fourth quarter. So I think Iowa, and they're playing at home in Kinnick. So I think that's a win. Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got Iowa over Michigan.
I'm not putting money on that.
Kentucky over Ole Miss. TCU over Oklahoma and Arkansas over Bama for our 4-0 guaranteed locks this week in upsets.
Sure hope so. At least 2-2.
So that segment's brought to you by Righteous Felon Jerky. Go on over to righteousfelon.com. Use code OCSN. Get 15% off your beef jerky needs. So I want to talk a little bit about this LSU game we got coming up this weekend. LSU versus Auburn. Big time. LSU's second SEC game this year in Tiger Stadium. Or, I'm sorry, it's not in Tiger Stadium. It's on the Plains.
The other Tiger Stadium.
The other Tiger Stadium, yes. On the Plains. Is it a 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock kickoff?
It's at 6 on ESPN.
6. Okay, 6 o'clock. No, so all those people that don't have ESPN Plus, you can still watch it because it's on ESPN. Do we think TJ Finley starts this game against his old team?
I think they're going to stick with their fresh.
Oh, yeah, he did get hurt last game, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
They started Robbie Ashford, but he checked out for a few plays. And they had a true freshman in because Zach Calzada apparently is still hurt. So
he's transferring.
Kind of a cluster there at QB for Auburn.
I saw some rumors that Calzada's gone, that he's in the transfer portal, which not good for him considering he was at A&M.
Personally, he shouldn't even left. I think he
should have stayed at A&M. He's a better quarterback than Max Johnson, but it's working out for old Maxi Max over there at A&M. What do you think, Tyler? Key to success for LSU this weekend?
Be able to run the ball. I think that the offensive line, you see them for the past 2 weeks, especially against Mississippi State. I mean, we know that they were going to do that against New Mexico, but you feel like you go back to that Mississippi State game, the second half, LSU was able to dominate the line of scrimmage. I know that a lot of people are really saying this as a blowout, but I'm not really saying that. I think that Auburn, hasn't been the greatest teams, but this rivalry is always close. And, the past 2 meetings have been dominated by Auburn. Last year, Auburn beat LSU since for the first time in Tiger Stadium since the 90s. And then last time we went to Jordan-Hare, we lost 41-11. The worst
we got absolutely destroyed
in the series. Granted, that was with TJ Finley at quarterback. Now we have Jaden Daniels. So I think it's going to be a defensive battle. Auburn's defense can hang it with them. So the key to success in this one is also being able to stop Tank Bigsby, because that's been pretty much Auburn's offense the whole season.
Yeah, I saw Auburn. I mean, he had over, if I'm thinking of the right person, had over 200 yards of rushing one game. I may be thinking of a completely wrong running back, but I'm pretty sure it was Tank Bigsby.
I don't think he's had 200.
Okay, then I'm thinking of the wrong guy.
He actually fell out of the rotation this week. Him and Harsin got in a spew, and they took him out of the game, first parts of the game, and yeah, Auburn's. I would assume he'll have to be back if they want to win this weekend.
Well, Jacob hinted at it. You think if LSU beats them, I think if it's a close game, he keeps his job. But if we blow him out, you think Brian Harsin's the coach going forward?
Probably
I always
not.
said that they're going to get rid of him at the bye week.
I mean, if you think about it, the 2 most recent times they're playing in front of a national audience, if they get spanked, I mean, that's just not good for the brand. And
there were some off the field issues before the season too, wasn't there?
Yeah. And with the early recruiting period, and most of the guys getting on campus by December, I mean, you really want to get all that figured out before you're scrambling at the last second like LSU was
right
this year.
Yeah, he might have saved his job too, because who knows what would have happened if Missouri ended up winning that game. Auburn,
so the Missouri running back fumbled as he was crossing the goal line, and Auburn
he was trying to move the football from one hand to another, which is just a big no-no if you're a running back. He would have had it easily. He didn't even have to move the ball. He could have just went out of bounds, and they would have won the game. All they needed was a touchdown to win. But yeah, Missouri should have won the game in regulation, but the kicker missed a 24-yard field goal wide. So it wasn't just a bad Saturday for college kickers.
I think
it's been a bad season for college kickers.
Seasons both in NFL and in college.
I think for Auburn, the takeaway is that they're last in the SEC in recruiting. They're on the verge of finishing last in the SEC at the end of the season.
Yeah, they just lost to Missouri. So
based on the schedule that is coming up, they're going to have to play 5 teams that are currently ranked in the top 25. 2 of those being back-to-backs. I don't see how he keeps his job even to that point. I think it's a waste of money for Auburn at that point, and they need to go find something else because it's not. They should
hard. Call one of us.
Sure.
Hey, put me in for this weekend. LSU will blow you out 62-0 because we're going to be taking a knee every play.
That might be where your guy Chadwell goes, is Auburn. They could get their hands on him from Coastal Carolina. So,
sure, absolutely.
Auburn's probably got more money than Arizona State.
If they believe in him. But
maybe they might have money after they have to pay Harskin $15 million.
Yeah.
Might be Ed Orgeron.
Oh, that's old Coach O was at
no way. There's no
shot. I don't think they're going to go after another group of 5 after the failure that Brian Harsin is. I think that they're going to get one of these Power 5.
Coach O was at one of the big games.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Auburn is no slouch of a
Jimbo Fisher
program. I mean, it's it's
Jimbo's never leaving College Station.
Dude, could you imagine he leaves and goes, and him and Nick Saban battle it out in state?
Oh, for the Iron Bowl?
Jesus
that would be insane.
I could see Auburn overpaying to get Mike Norvell to go to Auburn, which would be hilarious since he was on the hot seat to start the year, and he could turn it into a pay raise and getting hired somewhere else.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Jacob, you were familiar with the Auburn team after Penn State put a whooping on them. What do us as LSU fans have to look forward to when we play Auburn?
I
Points?
think, sure,
Say
absolutely, man.
points.
Yeah. I think
Not
the
many.
biggest thing.
I guess
for
what's their biggest weakness? Auburn's.
Auburn's biggest weakness is probably the secondary.
Yeah.
Defensive line wise, they're still okay. I think that's where Daniels is going to have some issues as far as getting out of the pocket. Their linebackers are good. Defensive line is still good. It's getting out of the pocket and running. If he can get past them, there's nobody at the second level I don't think that can get him. It's just, is he going to be able to sustain run all game long? And like Tyler alluded to, they're going to have to get the running game going. No, that's not Daniels running.
Yeah, that's
They need a running
That's
back.
like Emery, Kane, Goodwin if he's good to go.
Sure. And you saw what Nick Singleton did to Auburn, basically shredded him when he got through the line, and there's just nobody that can catch him. So if LSU wants to win this game, they need to have 250 yards rushing on the ground. And don't worry about throwing the football because it's not needed. Just send your guys, clear out, let your big
just
guys.
make sure you feed Boot. Oh, I guess his name is Booty. I've been corrected. It's not Booty. Make sure you feed Booty at the beginning of the game so he's happy. And then he's
got the
a
dad
father now.
power.
He's got a whole new perspective on life.
100-yard receiving game coming up. He's got the dad power.
And you don't need to beat Auburn deep. Just throw little quick crossing routes, and you're going to beat the guys all day because they're not going to be able to catch you. That's why
LSU's got the receivers against Auburn secondary. I mean, we saw Dutch now being the punt returner. I mean, he ran one back on a
as long as special teams can get their act together.
Yeah.
So Wade, we'll let you take the prediction. What's your score prediction for this week? LSU Auburn.
We'll mess it up.
I think
We're
LSU
putting money on it, so whatever you pick, that's what.
I wouldn't put anything on anything I've said this year. My bettings they're pretty bad, and my fantasy is pretty bad. So let's see. I think LSU will get in the 30s in this one. The offense wasn't amazing this past week, but Booty was out and Goodwin got hurt. So I think LSU cracks the 30s. I'll go LSU 31, and I'll give Auburn. I'll give them right at 20.
Lock
So
it,
LSU
folks.
takes it by
$100
11.
on that score. It's going to happen. Wade's can see into the future. Well, Fudge, I would be remiss if I didn't let you have your spotlight for Penn State versus who are they playing? Northwestern? Is that what this is?
No, they're playing Central Michigan. They disappointed at first, but they came through.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Last week, it was Northwestern. Or
Oh, we
Penn
already
State,
gave him
Central Michigan.
we gave him 10 minutes. And he talked all
going
of that.
forward to Penn State versus Northwestern, the team Northwestern more known for their academics than their football school.
Sure.
What are your? I mean, I'm looking at ESPN. Penn State's a 97% chance to win. What's your keys to victory for your Nittany Lions this week?
Just show up.
They're 26-point favorites.
No, they were a 28-point favorite last week.
Yeah, they were like a 31-point favorite last
Jesus
week.
Christ. So I think the keys to success, number one, is protecting Sean Clifford. He can't be taking huge hits from the Chippewas every freaking week. And number two is run the football. Do not throw the
Run
ball.
the ball. What's that TikTok?
Yes.
Run the dang ball.
There's no need to throw the ball. There really isn't. You have two running backs that play great off of each other. You have a speed back, and then you have a back that waits and lets the play develop in front of you. And that's all you need to do. Northwestern has zero defense. They let Nebraska put up, I don't remember how many in week 0. So I think you just got to run the ball the whole time, and it proved success last week, and I think it should this week. You need to rush your guys, especially after this week. You have a bye week, and then you've got to go to Ann Arbor and play Michigan. So it's a big 2-3 week stretch. So I think it's very important that you win this game decisively. They should cover. They need to cover this game to boost some momentum into the bye week, because I don't know if they're going to move down after the bye week. I'm not really worried about that. I'm not worried about the rankings. Screw the rankings right now.
Rankings don't matter right now.
Because they really don't matter, especially in the Big Ten. Big Ten rankings don't matter until about 3 weeks out. 3 weeks out, I would say, and then you need to pay attention to it. But I think they need to win this game big and then get ready for Michigan immediately.
Well, there you go, folks. There's our breakdown of our two teams. We're an LSU Penn State podcast. If LSU were to ever play Penn
And
State,
nobody got that.
Fudge would never be allowed on the show.
We could play.
But yeah, nobody's got that LSU Penn State flavor right there.
Yeah, Northwestern, man, is just like a hard team to figure out. They get like all the hype after beating Nebraska in Dublin, and then they lose to Southern Illinois in week 3. And it's like, what the heck is going on now? This team is 1-3. I know that Wade's familiar with this guy. Ryan Helinski's their quarterback. He had a whale of a game week 1. Then after that, it's just been on offense. So I think that Penn State should have no problem in this one. They win there like 42-17, something like that. It's just going to be a blowout.
Hey, speaking of a team that was unexpectedly absolutely atrocious this week, Miami.
I knew you were going there.
Tennessee State. Oh my God.
Middle
baby.
Tennessee,
Let's
man.
go. What, they beat them like 42-26 or something?
No,
Like,
it was closer. It was
at
like
one
35
point, it was a blowout.
22, something like that.
They were up like 35-10.
Yeah.
They benched their
They
starting
literally
quarterback,
hit
their
like a
$1 million
95-yard pass play to go up like 35-17. Like, I mean, the U is definitely not bad.
Hey, the Dolphins got
horns
they
down.
got payback in the stadium.
You down. You down. You going down. That's what's pretty much.
But so, like we were saying, we're a Penn State LSU podcast. You don't get that anywhere else, folks.
with golf. And
With
NASCAR.
golf
With a side
and
of golf.
NASCAR. Sprinkle a little bit of baseball, and we give you straight locks for upset picks. So,
Yep. And
upsets have been a lot better than
all
our
the
other
other picks.
We get the bad bets out there so they aren't going to be
Yep.
there for other
Just
people.
start
as
picking
long as
against
you-
us, folks.
yeah, as long as you fade us, you're in the positive. So there you go. That's what we're here for. But our look ahead to next week for Penn State and LSU was brought to you by Norse Beards. As you can tell, Jacob has not shaved. Penn State's undefeated so far.
What do we
I have
think
not
that
shaved.
it could possibly happen?
I think the Michigan game is going to be the closest one.
Michigan?
Yeah, I think I might.
I mean, I think it's Ohio State for me. I think that's going to be like
beat Michigan.
No, I think that you'll beat Michigan. And then I mean, I think that a dark horse could be Minnesota State for sure.
Gotta watch out for them Golden Gophers. There.
That's
Golden
going to be
Gophers.
crazy. That's going to be a top 15 matchup.
Yeah, could be game day there and in the wideout. That'd be insane.
Yikes.
But as you can see, he still has his beard. I still have my beard because I don't shave my beard whether or not LSU wins or loses. Only time I've ever done that is in 2017 when we lost in the College World Series to Florida. I shaved my beard. I looked like I was 12.
He also
So-
had super.
You should have
long-
bleached your hair like Kramer did.
Yeah, I had long hair. I looked like Loki from Thor because I had the long hair and a long face with no beard, and I was super pale. But if you head on over to norsebeards.com, enter promo code OCS, you get 25% off beard oil, beard gel, beard scrub, the whole shebang. I've been using it. My beard's actually getting kind of thick. I've been letting it grow because we're going up to the wine country at the end of October up to Fredericksburg. So I need to have that nice thick beard when I'm tasting the wine. So, I got to, fall's coming on.
Stuck in your stash.
Yeah, I got to, I might have to shave it and then just rock the mustache. We'll see.
I thought about doing that.
Okay, here's the deal. Penn State loses to Michigan. You got to just have a mustache.
Just stash.
Just
If
stash.
LSU loses to Auburn, you got to go to stash.
That I feel like you got to, because I mean, if we lose that, then it's just abysmal.
Let me think on that one. I mean, I've seen what I look like with just a mustache. It's not a good look.
uneasy. We're uneasy about the
Yeah, why-
No,
why are you
well, I don't
uneasy?
want to put all my eggs in one basket because then it's going to bite me in the butt. So, but okay, we'll consider it. We'll consider it.
An off-air discussion.
Yeah, it's up. We're going to table that for later.
This is a
discussion.
week-long discussion, folks, between me and Chet. This is going to be a week-long discussion right here.
But if you do have a nice thick beard like myself and Jacob, and I see Wade's is coming in. Tyler, looks like you just shaved yours. Got to let it grow, man.
Wade will be
yeah,
shaving
well-
it probably after the show.
I got some business to tend to tomorrow.
Oh, well,
that
there
I
you
don't
go.
really want to go to, but I have to go to.
So, but you do want to go to norsebeards.com and get 25% off using OCS for all your beardsman needs. All right. Well, let's throw it to some NFL topics. This one kind of made its way through the media earlier last week. One of the Eagles special teams, I think he's a wide receiver, he gets called up from the practice squad. And shout out to all our Eagles fans on the Old City Sports Network. You've got to do this guy better. He gets called up from the practice squad to play on Monday night, and they don't let him in the team parking lot. He didn't have the right credentials because he was literally called up 3 hours before, and the security guards didn't believe he was a team player. So they made him go park with the fans. His name is Britton Covey, I think is how you say his name. He actually tailgated before
Y'all
the
know
game.
where he went to college?
Not a clue. Where'd he go to college?
He went to
Sorry.
Utah. He was like the
Utah.
Cooper Cup of Utah, and
yes,
he
I
like
remember
went
this
off
guy.
in the Rose Bowl.
Number
Yeah.
18
Yep.
Yep.
on Utah.
He was their punt returner and like their number one receiver.
So he had to go park with the fans. He actually he said he would walk through the parking lot. No one recognized him except for one family. And he tailgated with that one family, signed jerseys, had some hamburgers, and
What a
went
guy.
and played the game. So just a little tidbit there to the Eagles security. Y'all got to do better, man. He's on YouTube.
No, I think the players should have to park in public parking. That'd be funny. Could you
Could
imagine?
you imagine afterwards?
They
Oh
would
my
get beaten in
God.
the parking lot.
Especially for like Buffalo Bills. They'd be going nuts.
Yeah, what
out
if it's
there.
just like Josh Allen? Like he's gonna like all the Bills fans are just like gonna throw him through a table at that rate.
Yeah,
You
Jo-
think James could have
Allen's-
walked home
yeah.
in New Orleans today? I don't.
No,
Josh
not a
Allen's
chance.
gonna Josh Allen be game time
No,
decisions for the next
not
week
after
because he's
that
gonna throw a
performance.
table after the game in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the
that
Chargers
would
look
be-
terrible today.
Hey,
You
I
think
mean,
Justin Herbert would
Hey,
have had a few more
Bridgewater was
broken
biking
ribs.
whenever he was in New Orleans. He was biking through the
He was
streets of
winning,
New Orleans
though.
on his way to the game.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater went 6-0 as the backup. He's doing
I
a
want to
lot
know
better than
how Drew
Jameis.
Brees could be, out there with, so many injuries, and Teddy Bridgewater comes in, and Alvin Kamara and him are riding bikes to the stadium, and then now, they can't score more than 14 points against Carolina.
That's what I wanted to talk about. This Saints offense is non-existent.
Putrid.
The defense was supposed to be amazing, and where did they go? They look
Yeah,
like
they
me
look
playing
average.
NCAA
I mean,
14.
7 of the points though was off a Kamara fumble. So it's not. It really wasn't on the defense today.
The defense looks average. I mean, they just missed some tackles, but the offense
Well,
looks
that's
really
75-yard screen pass.
Well,
Looks like me playing
yeah, that
Cameron in
too.
NCAA 14. So, but I mean, I think Jameis should be considered being benched. What's his name came out and said he's the quarterback going forward, Dennis Allen. But I think if we're shut out at halftime next week, Andy Dalton's the man. Put in the ginger, let him roll. He did good in Cincinnati before he stopped doing good in Cincinnati. So I think we need to switch it up. What's your thoughts on that?
It's
Tyler?
definitely tough. I mean, you have now had to go over the pond to London base, and the Minnesota Vikings, who has one of the best offenses in the NFL, just put up 28 on the line. So the defense will once again get challenged, and I think it's a matter of I think that the Vikings will be able to score. And it's just a matter of can the offense keep up? And I'm going to say right now, no. So it's probably going to be another loss to the Vikings.
Should we just tank for Bryce Young?
Probably tank for Bryce Young, and especially if you
Is
lose.
it too early to tank? It's only
No,
week
yes, it's
13.
too early.
5 straight games or something.
The Buccaneers
like that.
lost.
But it's too early.
The Panthers aren't any good. The
But
Falcons
if we
aren't
lose
any
like the
good.
Seahawks, then yes, tank.
But the Falcons won today.
Hey,
right?
Geno Smith, man. He's the real deal in Seattle. Okay, don't be hating on my boy.
Hey, do you see the Ryan Clark thing where he
No.
Ryan Clark did a thing with SVP? This must have been last week, but they were doing highlights of the game and like he zoomed in on like there was nothing going on in the play, and he zoomed in on like the Seahawks sideline. He said, "This is the key to the game right here," and he outlined Drew Lock, and he said, "As long as this guy is not on the
Yes.
field." And it's like, oh my god.
Talk about some
Man.
shade on Drew Lock. The key to the game is to keep him on the sideline.
That's brutal.
I think Geno has blown away a lot of expectations. So it's always good to see those type of quarterbacks, which could have been Jameis. They're not starters anymore, like Marcus Mariota, kind of getting a second shot at stardom. So
This is
and
Jameis's second shot, so he's in trouble.
Yeah.
yeah.
Something about a ginger in a Saints uniform just doesn't look right. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, if
It
he's
looks
throwing
good on the,
touchdowns, I
the
don't care what
Bengals.
color his hair is.
It just looks strange. It went great in Cincinnati because orange and he had the
He
hair.
was the team.
Yeah, it
It
was
looked weird.
perfect.
He was the
Maybe
mascot.
we should make a trade for Joe. You think we can get Joe Burrow on the team?
Never.
Who we give
Give
up?
Kamara.
5 first-round picks,
Send him.
Kamara, and
He's probably gonna be in. He's not gonna play next year anyway.
hey, maybe we get like the Chauncey deal. We can just get like a bag of chips and we get Burrow.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
That was whenever the wheels fell off. Was trading him. That was just a stupid trade.
Yeah, so
I don't think that's where the wheels fell off.
I think the wheels fell off with the offense. But
Yeah, defense was okay.
I gotta
Offense-
say though, like we know that we were like, I just gotta say this, like we know that we were hyping up the AFC West. I don't think the AFC West we thought, because the Chiefs lost to the Colts today. The Chargers got blown out by the Jaguars, and then I believe the Broncos are playing right now. I don't know if they're winning or losing.
And they're
time
losing
they
too,
were
so they're about to go 0
Yeah.
for 4.
Yeah. So
This is setting-
that is not a good division so far.
like
speaking
this is
of your
setting
Colts,
up for a Colts. Like this is literally setting up for a Colts and Dolphins AFC Championship
Yeah,
game.
the Dolphins are right now like the best team in the AFC.
Jesus.
hey, Jonathan Taylor, how about we get more than 70 yards rushing? Okay, I didn't pick you first overall to lay eggs. I mean, come on, man. So that's all I got to say about Jonathan. I should have picked Cooper Kupp, but
Hey, what about Jay Jettis not doing jack squat for me?
yeah, same
I
here.
knew that was coming. Give
So-
him time.
Monday night game, we got the Cowboys versus the Giants. Cooper Rush versus Daniel Jones. The battle of the best QBs in the NFL.
I think the Giants win.
I think the Giants win too.
Hey, I kept telling y'all about the
Where's
Giants.
it at?
That's in New York.
It's at New York. It's at the Meadowlands. And
Nah.
yes,
Cooper Rush
No.
gonna run
I
the
hate
show.
to
gonna
say
go
it, Wade,
two
but I think
ways.
that Saquon's due for a big game.
It doesn't matter. Javante's only got 6 points.
Okay.
so-
Well, I think that Saquon's probably gonna have like 2 touchdowns, and I think that it's gonna be like a Tony.
If they
Pollard
make
game
it
for the
there.
Cowboys.
If they make it there, if Michael
Here's-
Parsons doesn't take somebody's head off in the backfield,
True. Cooper Rush is either
True
going to be
that.
the best. Here, I saw something as a Cowboys fan tweeted this out. Remember when who was the quarterback before Tom Brady? Eric Bledsoe? No.
What?
Bledsoe.
Yeah. When he got hurt, Tom Brady came in and is the GOAT. Okay. This Cowboy fans tweeted out, same thing happened. And it's going to happen now. Dak gets hurt, and Cooper Rush is going to be the
Oh, yeah.
next Tom Brady.
Dak
think
already
Cooper-
did that with Romo.
Exactly. It was supposed to be Dak, and
Yeah,
we saw what
Dak
happened.
was supposed
Dak
to be
Prescott's
the
a good
top receiver for
quarterback.
Cowboys
They can-
fans.
They
Yeah.
can.
Do
just
we
deal with
think – okay, I need an answer from all y'all. Do we think Cooper Rush is the next Tom Brady?
No, not
No.
even close.
why are we having this discussion?
Why?
I say
why?
yes.
This is
Roll
like
with the
saying
Cooper
that
Rush
like
train.
like LeBron James is a better basketball player than Michael Jordan.
Speaking of LeBron James, he
No,
wants to come back
see,
and play
that's not
college
even.
football.
See that people compare that day to day. People will not compare Cooper
Yeah.
Rush and
No
Tom
one,
Brady
no one's
day to
probably,
day.
even, probably only like Cowboys fans are saying that
Hey,
just
I
to
think
make them
Cooper
feel
Rush
better
is going
about
to be
their
the
team.
next Tom Brady. I'm vouching for him. I think he's going to win.
He got
against
cut in the
Giants.
preseason and re-signed.
This man's
I
what been
can't
on like
even-
5 teams so far.
I
Wait,
think they
there's your
re-signed
TikTok
him
clip.
because Will Greer wanted another cheeseburger in his contract, so they went with Rush. They
Hey,
cut him
what are they
both
gonna
at the end
do
of
if
the
like Cooper
preseason.
Rush gets hurt? Are they gonna put like Zeke at quarterback with
He
his
might
Space Cadet
actually do
helmet?
better.
I see.
think
That's
Zeke-
another thing. I hate that helmet so much. You literally, all the players look like a damn space cadet.
I
Oh,
think,
Zeke's new helmet.
Yes,
I think
Well, he's got to figure out something because he ain't doing jack squat. He hadn't done anything in the past 3
they're not
years.
feeding Zeke.
Yeah, they need
speaking
to
of feeding Zeke, I think Wade, like I think Greer and Zeke are on the same diet together.
Yeah, that's a
I
big
think they
burgers.
probably eat together because that's why Zeke
Eating
is
like a full-on rack of ribs before the game.
full protein diet, just fat.
They're on that Wade diet.
They're like
before
y'all,
he
yeah,
goes to
they're like
play
y'all
golf.
two before the whack, eating like a full course like barbecue.
Hey, but
platter.
I didn't really perform, so I guess I'm.
You know who's probably happy they didn't eat a full rack of ribs would be the Jets punt blocker because Morstead kicked that ball right up his rear end today. I don't know if y'all saw that clip on
Good thing he
Twitter.
didn't eat the Taco Bell or it would have.
You know how much that must have hurt to get
Yeah,
it?
that hurt
For
so
one,
bad.
Yeah, Thomas Morstead. I mean that.
He's no joke. Morstead could kick it like the whole length of the football field.
But he had to have seen that the guy was right there. Like I know that punters are trained to just do their job, but like
I think you
gotta
just did it
improvise
like, yeah,
those
let me just get on
situations.
Sports Center. We're already winning anyways.
Well, and they almost blew it, because they kicked it out of the back of the end zone for safety. Who did they play?
The Bills.
Yeah,
The
and
Bills
then
and
so
the Dolphins, yeah.
yeah, I said the Jets. He was on the Jets. Now he's on the
Yeah.
Dolphins. The Jets got blown out by the Bengals. Glad to see Joey B was cooking. But no, they kick it out, and then the Bills almost win the game. They ended up losing 21-19. So
That offensive coordinator was fuming in the press box.
I saw that. I didn't actually. I
Man
saw
was
the
throwing
alert.
everything. It was like me after I get killed in Fortnite.
It's week 3 in the NFL. Like, it's
You're
okay,
the Bills.
dude.
You're gonna win the Super Bowl, okay? Like, let's not.
That game
going
was
nuts.
crazy. That game was crazy in itself. Not only that, but Tua gets lit up in the backfield and goes to get up and just starts stumbling like he's drunk. That was
They're opening an investigation into the Miami Dolphins because
Saw that.
they didn't go through the correct concussion protocol.
I
and they
was
put 'em
thinking
back
that.
in the
I was
game.
watching the highlights. I didn't get to see the game. I was watching the highlights and I said, man, after all that, I said, doing that, I've studied, studying that, and that is absolutely a no-no to do something like that. I don't care who you are. I mean, you need to go through all the protocols, because the guy got up, was shaking his head, and then walks 5 feet and falls down again to the ground. I mean, a lot of guys just kind of lean over just to catch themselves because they get dizzy, but he fully fell over. I mean, that is a case
Yeah,
where
I thought he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
I don't know.
thought so, too.
I don't know what
Tua,
happened.
do you know where you're at? Yeah, I'm at Whataburger. Can I get a number 3? No, Tua, you're on the football field. Oh,
Where's
okay,
Jalen
we'll put him back
Waddle?
in the game.
And they have a short week. They have to play on Thursday against the Bengals. So,
Hey,
that's
but they're a
going to
crazy
be something
family.
to watch.
They're a crazy family. You saw his brother after he scored the touchdown and his helmet came off and he was just freaking fuming in front of the Michigan fans and just
I did not
absolutely
see
lost
that.
his cool. It was weird. Yeah.
That Tagovailoa, whatever his last name is, that crazy Hawaiian blood he's got in him. He's a warrior. He wanted to go back in that game. No, it's the NFL this year has not disappointed me. There's been some interesting things happening week to week. So, but if you want to get your favorite team's gear in the NFL, college football, any sport, we are now an affiliate with Fanatics. If you use our link, which is right here on the screen and also be in our show notes, we get a little bit of kickback from it. So if you want to help support the podcast, use our link to get any of your gear. Shout out to the guy or gal that bought $135 worth of team gear last week. We appreciate you, whoever you are. If it was you, send us a DM on Twitter, and maybe we'll send you a shirt or just give you a shout out. So we appreciate everyone's help and just helping make this podcast possible. Fanatics has great daily deals. I know Wade's a big daily deal getter. They've got a coupon right now. I forget what
It's like
what
virtual
it is.
TJ Maxx.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 65%
better
off if you use
quality.
the coupon code right now. Look, actually, you know what? I'll pull it up right now and I'll tell y'all what it is. It's this weekend it was like cozy or something, so you could be nice.
Yeah,
and
it
cozy
changes
next to
every
the
day. It's either
fireplace.
like free shipping every day
He's
or
about
like
a fireplace. It's 90 degrees out.
25%.
So the coupon code today is CROPS, CROPS, up to 65% off site wide. So if you use our link, it brings you straight to the college football page. So you can get your favorite team, support them, get you some purple and gold or some blue and white for Jacob. Or you can go head on over to NFL, get you a Saints jersey. You can actually get you a WWE shirt based on your favorite superstar. And then, of course, you got NASCAR Neil. It's probably NASCAR Neil was getting ready to rock and roll for his NASCAR event he went to today. They got a bunch of NASCAR stuff on the website. But yeah, if you use that link shown on the screen, it'll also be in our show notes. Helps us out a little bit, and you get a nice discount with it. So that kind of wraps up our NFL talk. There's two things I want to hit on before we get the NASCAR Neil update from Wade. I don't know if y'all saw, we're not a tennis podcast. I don't think any of us watch tennis. I see it on Twitter, tune in every now and then. They had the Laver Cup. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly this weekend. It was one of the matches was interrupted due to a protester setting their arm on fire on the court. So
I guess
we had some crazy
like 3rd-degree burns for the protest.
Yeah, we had some crazy protest in
There's
the
your new
NBA
fantasy
season.
football punishment.
Maybe it was a fan. I don't know what they were
Setting
protesting,
yourself on fire.
but
That'd
you
be
could tell
extreme.
in the picture he thoroughly regretted it because he is screaming.
He's
his
like,
head
"Oh, I'm on fire."
yeah, oh, fire, please. And so it's just, I saw that. I was like,
Yeah, I bet
gotta
like
get
someone
that.
said like, "You're on fire." He's like, "Oh, thank you for the compliment." Like, no, you're actually on fire. Like, oh, I
He
am.
runs into the middle of the pitch. I believe it's a pitch in tennis.
Court.
That was just called a court.
It's a court. You're
I thought
thinking
that
of
was.
The
you're
pitch.
thinking of European football.
Oh, I'm sorry. He
Court.
runs into the middle of the court,
about
sits
rugby.
down, pours lighter fluid, lights it, and the court's on fire. And then he sticks his arm in it and goes, "Oh!" And his arm is on fire.
Talk about a pyromaniac. My God.
I don't know what he's protesting, but I guess he got his point across. And another little sports tidbit.
Well, talking about tennis, I want to add like Roger Federer. What a great career that man had. I got to give props to him. I definitely, as a kid, I Roger Federer at Wimbledon and all the so.
Well, and then you
Great career.
have his greatest rival, Rafa's
Yep.
out there watching him, and he's crying.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows how much the game meant to both of them. Yeah, they were the biggest rivals of the sport, but the two of them, it means so much to the game, and he's out there crying watching his biggest competitor.
Yeah,
play his final
those
match.
tennis matches was also always insane to watch.
They did the clay and the grass
Yeah.
match. That was pretty cool. But yeah, shout out to him for his retirement. We wish him a happy retirement, and maybe we'll see him at Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company getting a beer, sipping next to the Houston River.
Hey, maybe we can get him on the show now that he's retiring.
Yeah,
How
we'll
many
have more
free
time.
beers did they give you, Chet? We've had 5 sponsorships, but
we got to shout out our guys.
We give like one every 10 minutes.
are you hiding a 12-pack for me?
Yeah, I'll make sure that we're set up.
That's
nice
gonna be
enough.
your wedding gift. Is
Yeah.
12-pack.
Oh, yeah.
you get a nice
And then
pint
you get
and a
a-
12-pack.
You get $1,000 gift card to Fanatics that you can use.
Yeah, there you
that he
go.
buys through our buyback program
Yes, he uses a commission to
with
to
his
buy a
points
gift card
credit
for you.
card.
Yeah, there we go. I'm not spending any money on your wedding gift, Wade. We're getting all sponsored gear. You and Elise are going to be decked to the nines in our sponsors. The last topic I want to hit on. Wade, your conspiracy was right. They were throwing to Albert Pujols to hit moonshots. He hits 2 home runs in the game against the Dodgers. Gets to 700.
Oh,
What are your thoughts
phooey
on
with
that?
that.
He got it
conspiracy.
done like with a month to spare, so we got to give the guy some credit. Actually,
What's the
more like
next?
a week
What
to
do you
spare?
rank number 5?
4.
Four? What's number 3?
He ain't making it.
No, it was just to get
Yeah.
700.
He's not going to make it.
What's the home run for number 3? Does anybody know?
I think it is Babe Ruth at like 754.
Is it 725?
Oh,
I think it's Hank Aaron.
yeah. No, Jacob's
Top
right.
2.
It's less than that. Because then Hank Aaron passed it up and hit about 25 more to get to
Yeah.
755, and then Barry Bonds is at like 768.
Well, maybe if we get Pujols some steroids right now, boom, 68.
I don't know.
home
There's
runs.
Maybe
only
he'll come
so
back
few
and
games
play.
left in the regular season.
He can play for the
okay,
Nationals next year.
He's actually a lot closer than I thought. So Babe Ruth hit 714. So he's 14 home runs away from.
He
Hey,
needs a power surge.
how many games are left in the regular
Like
season?
7.
Yeah.
Well, I
To a
think there's
game.
like 11. Well, 11 left.
Fudge has Judge hit 60? You were watching the game. You had it
Yeah,
on.
he hit
No,
61.
they're currently in a rain delay because all of a sudden New York Yankee Stadium has turned into a pond. So I don't even know if they're gonna. I don't even know if they're playing the rest of the game tonight, which is kind of a bummer.
His record is he's going for 62. That's like a record,
Yeah.
huh?
I think
61.
61, yeah.
He's going for 61. This is his last chance to hit a regular season home run in Yankee
Oh, in
Stadium
Yankee Stadium. Gotcha.
because they go on the road starting tomorrow. So I don't know. They played 6 innings, so they can call the game if they want to. I don't think they will because
They want to see Judge hit a home run.
sure.
Super.
Yeah.
I don't
hey,
think people are going home.
The game
It's
might
just
just
gonna
end
be
at
like-
like 2 a.m. in the morning, but fans are gonna stick around for that.
Hey, I
nobody's
know
going
that
to
that Barry Bonds did it on steroids, but
Still
I didn't
pretty
realize
impressive,
that he hit 78 in one season. I mean, just physically that's really impressive. I know that obviously there
Steroids
was
are
some,
not.
yeah,
Now you
like-
got guys pitching like in the triple digits, so it's definitely a
I
lot
don't even
harder.
think he should be at the top of the list.
he's
in my-
not. They expunged it, but
You know,
it just shows that we're talking about a guy getting 17 less for the record. So I mean, he say what you want, but he really, I don't think anybody could ever touch that naturally or unnaturally. I mean,
Well, our Aaron Judge home run tracker is brought to you by Lugaroo. You can head on over to lugaroo.co, not .com, .co, get a quote from Colin, tell him that we sent you from Sports Scramble, and he'll hook you up with some custom jerseys. And I originally thought it was just for like intramural sports. No, he'll take your favorite sports team, he'll make like a retro jersey and hook you up, and you can get the whole shebang. So head on over to lugaroo.co, get a quote from Colin, and he'll hook you up. Boys, I think that kind of wraps up the sports talk.
hold on,
Anything else?
we gotta get our NASCAR preview.
NASCAR Neil, there we go. He was at the second playoff race. He's
Yes.
actually going to be on the show next week. Wade, what do you got from NASCAR Neil?
So I'm not going to steal the entire show from NASCAR Neil because we want to hear about his experience next week. But you know, since the race just ended about an hour ago, we do want to put it out there that Tyler Reddick got his third win of the year. It was a little bit of a lackluster win because he got eliminated from the playoffs last week. So he's no longer in contention, but he did take the field this week. And he will be he'll be leaving RCR next season. I think that's Richard. I know Neil has told us before, so he'll have to tell you next week. But yeah, so then Cody Ware also was in contention but had a major wreck and lost all of his steering and nearly hit the entrance to the garage area on pit road. So that could have caused some injuries to the pit crews, but I think the disaster was averted. So yeah, Neil had a fun time, maybe a little too much fun. He said that his buddy had to carry him out of the stadium.
There we go, NASCAR Neil. Representing the Sports Scramble image well.
So
he sent me a Snapchat. His cooler broke, and he had to tie it together with his shoelaces to make
I think his solution to that was drinking all the beer in the cooler to make it lighter.
Hey, when you're at a NASCAR race, you might as well.
Neil will have many more stories for y'all next week. He sent me some footage, some videos, so I'm going to put that together in a TikTok and get that out here pretty soon, and maybe we'll share it to Twitter or something as well. So stay tuned. NASCAR Neil will have the scoop. But yeah, once again, Tyler Reddick getting the win, and there's 2 more races left this season before things wrap up. So
there we go. Thank you, NASCAR Neil, for your always appreciated update. And it's right off the end of the race, so might be the first ones to put it out on the Twitter world. Who knows? But yeah, that kind of wraps up the show this week. Like Wade mentioned, we are on TikTok now if you want to see more of our content. I think you got to take the clip of us going, what did I ask? And I said yes, and you all said no. I don't remember. We'll have to go back and watch it. And we'll throw that one on TikTok. But you can find us on Facebook. We've live streamed to Facebook now. We live streamed to YouTube. We live streamed to Twitter. Facebook and YouTube, search Sports Scramble Podcast. Twitter, at Sports Scramble 4. You can see it right there on the screen. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you enjoyed the show. I think you can just leave like a star rating on Spotify. But you leave us a review, you will be entered to win, of course, the Buffalo Bayou Buff Brew salmon-colored shirt. Very comfortable, very soft. We'll pick one lucky commenter and send them over a shirt. But yeah, like always, we'll be back next Sunday at 8 o'clock. We hope everybody has a good week.